Hey, ConLaw, how are you guys doing? I don't know if I've ever actually told you guys this, but I have this really strange fear of elevators. But don't worry, I'm taking steps to avoid it. Joke of the day. All right. So for today, continuing on with this idea of looking at equal protection, in particular today, looking at segregation issues with school and school demographics and the idea of diversity. So you have two kind of things you're looking at here. So first, you have a lawsuit that's actually winding its way through the state of New Jersey right now, looking at desegregating public schools. So if you think about Ridgewood High School, right? People that attend Ridgewood High School come from Ridgewood themselves, right? And so since we have a state law that basically says you have to go to your local school, um, what you then get are segregated schools, right? That if you look at the demographics of Ridgewood, um, that's what you're going to get inside the school. You go one town away, another town over, right? The demographics can be very, very different. And so the thought is that what you then get are segregated schools. And some make the argument that the schools in New Jersey are some of the most segregated in the country because of property taxes and that reason, right? That it's so expensive to live in Ridgewood that it kind of prices out people from the community. And so then you kind of get a whole bunch of like the same people that go here. And so there's a lawsuit winding its way through the courts in New Jersey looking to desegregate these schools. So you have an article on that that proposes some solutions. And I also give you the latest demographics that the high school actually reported to the state. So you can see what actually the breakdown, the racial breakdown is of students in the high school. I'm sure you can give that a guess, but I give you actually the hard numbers there. So some of your thoughts and opinions on that as students, right? Because if this were to happen, it's not going to happen anytime soon. It's going to take a while for this to go through the courts. You would be the ones that this would be affecting, right? So think of yourself as a student. How important is diversity, right? And then what are you willing to do for it? Um, we blow up the very nature of what a high school is in New Jersey and create like specialty schools, and you can pick and choose which specialty school you want to. And so if Ridgewood becomes a like, kind of like I would say a health academy is kind of like a wrap type of school. This is because we have Valley Hospital. So maybe kids in Bergen County are interested in that. We become kind of a magnet school for that. Or maybe you're an arts kid. And so you have an arts high school in, Northern Valley becomes one of the Northern Valley schools becomes an art school. So if you're an art kid, you go from Ridgewood there. I don't know. That's one of the ideas, something to kind of like think about. Or simply you could just bus kids around. The idea that we take a bunch of kids from Ridgewood, send them someplace else, and take a bunch of kids from someplace else and bus them here to Ridgewood. Um, Everything's controversial, so we'll see some thoughts on that. And then in addition, for classwork, I've got a video for you that talks about affirmative action in college admission. So some of you are seniors, right? So you're kind of going through this. And so there's a court case dealing with the University of California, their medical school, this guy Alan Backey. And basically, Cal decided that they value diversity, so they set aside a certain amount of admission spots for students of color. And what happened was Backey, as a white guy, didn't get in because, say if you've got 100 seats, 80 of them are, or 20 of them rather are set aside for students of color. Maybe he was, he had the 79th best score or whatever the heck it was, and he missed it by one spot. But yet someone who got in on those 20 seats, maybe they didn't do as well on their SATs or whatever, right? And so he felt he was a better qualified candidate, but instead the only reason he didn't get in was because of who he was. So it's kind of like reverse discrimination, that because he was white, he was discriminated against. And so he took that issue all the way up to the Supreme Court. And it's something the courts are still dealing with. You still hear these cases. For example, there's a case that the Supreme Court is either going to hear this term, I don't know if they heard this term or next term, in which a bunch of students are looking to basically sue Harvard, basically because they feel like they're being discriminated against. And in that instance, they're Asian students who feel like, that they're kind of getting on, the wrong end of kind of this deal. So it's an interesting case, right? how do you, do you value diversity? I think we do value diversity, but then how do you get it? How do you achieve it without hurting someone, right? And that's the crux of what that case is. So that's what you have today. I hope all is well. Stay safe, stay smart, and enjoy the weekend.